All right, a very good morning to you. It's good to see you on this very chilly morning. And yes, we are not in studio, we are on location, and we're coming to you from Mabati Rolling Mills as we continue with a very important conversation that we began in the beginning of the week. And this is as far as the World Breastfeeding Week, which started on 1st of August and will go throughout the week until the 7th of August. And this year's theme is very, very important. And it's all about breastfeeding, yes, exclusive breastfeeding, but with a very important theme, and that is enabling breastfeeding, making a difference for working parents. So today we're here just to get to understand how important this is as far as promoting exclusive breastfeeding for working moms, and just seeing it, how it happens. Okay, not the actual breastfeeding, but what a lactation station first of all looks like, why it is important for moms to utilize the same, but most importantly enabling that environment as far as employers promoting that environment for their employees to make sure that yes, in as much as they need to come back to work, and this is for the moms after 3 months, there's also that option that they can express their milk and still have time to perform at work. So welcome to the show. My name is Winnie Lubembe, and come in. Let's get to have this very important conversation because, again, like we said, there is that provision that women, that is women who, again, lactating mothers, first of all, should be given, pregnant women should be given 3 months of paid maternity leave, all right? And aside from that, when they come back to work, they should also have that environment where they can still be able to express their milk, but at the same time perform at work. So, Catherine, it's good to have you this morning.
Good to have you.
First of all, I must say thank you for
you.
hosting us, this morning, coming into your space, allowing us to be here just to see, first of all, what a lactation station looks like. But other than that, also you giving us your expertise as far as a human resource manager to help us understand how important it is for women to, exclusively breastfeed, champion for the same, but also make sure that they are productive at work. So thank you for hosting us
Thank
today.
you for also choosing us to come here.
Most welcome.
We are happy that you're here this morning. We've been having our lactation room for the last 3 years. So several women have been able to benefit and enjoy from this space. We are very, for us, exclusive breastfeeding is very key. Dr. Manu Changaya, we're privileged to have him as part of this group, and he is the one who commissioned and pioneered for this, and so many women have benefited from that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are glad that you're here, and you're glad that you could get to see our small space.
Right?
Yeah.
It's small, but saves a lot.
It saves a lot. It's a small investment, but the rewards are quite big.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, since this whole conversation as far as lactation station began, it was very important, first of all, for everyone really to come together and make sure that this provision is possible, and especially for moms, because before then it was difficult, and you could attest to the fact that so many women would either call in sick, they're not able to get to work on time because they want to spend more time with the baby, but at the same time make sure that they are exclusively breastfeeding. So I'm just curious to understand why this was so important, especially for
I am actually those women who used to struggle.
What happened?
Because when I got my child 7 years ago, we didn't have that space. So of course I went on maternity leave, I came back, and I was encouraged, you have to exclusively breastfeed your child for 6 months. So I came with my pump and my bags, and I got here and I was like, so where do I do it? Okay. I look at the bathroom, I'm like, so I'll give my baby jams. We are privileged enough to have a gym. So I go to the gym and it's full of glass windows. So I'm will I show all my private parts to the whole world? So eventually I stopped because there was nowhere I could be able to. Then I had to start getting alternatives, which the doctors don't recommend because of the baby's health, the baby's immunity, and then also reactions. So you get into that, then you discover, oh, my child is hypoallergenic. Yes, she's allergic to it. Then I have to call in sick, my baby is sick, every other day my baby is sick. But with this space, then, and the space also has a fridge, you have packages. So you come, you express your milk, you put it in the fridge, and when you're leaving for work, you go home with it. You don't have to call home and hear your baby is crying and you're so tense you can't do your job.
And you're so stressed. We all know this, how stressful this can be, because you're in the office, you don't know what's happening at home, you have to make several calls, and the people who are looking after your child at home are like, can you just chill?
Yeah, because you're always calling. Is he okay? Is she okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Then you call, you hear they're crying. Now that's it. You're like, I'm done. Because anyway, you're here for work because of your family, right?
That's true. You have to provide for them.
You have to provide for them. You're not here to just make other people rich. You're also here to benefit
your
as
family. I like that. Okay, so where's the lactation station? Upstairs. Okay,
upstairs.
So we're going to use stairs. A bit of exercise as well. It's good.
I know.
It's good for this morning. Okay,
baby fat gone.
Right. So for you as an individual, before even talking about the productivity at work and how that was, for you, looking back at how things are now that you have a lactation station where you can easily go express your milk, but at the same time have enough time to also be productive at work, how much of a difference would you say that was, especially for you as an individual? We'll come back and talk about work in general and how that is beneficial, but to you as an individual, your mental health, your physical health, and also the health of your baby. How was that for you?
When it comes to physical health, when you have a lot of milk, your breasts become engorged.
Yes.
And it is painful. It is so painful. You're sitting and you just feel so much pressure. You can't concentrate when it comes to work. You just want to go and release.
That's
and
true.
It's natural. And for mental health, knowing that I'm sitting here and my baby is not hungry. I'm good to go.
That's really gives you a peace of mind.
Gives me the peace of mind.
Okay, all right. So here we are, and it's literally indicated here, mother's room. So that means privacy at its best. Okay, so here we are. This looks really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
It looks lovely. I mean, all these colors, it looks really nice. Was it intentional? First of all,
it was intentional. And psychologically, for you to be able to produce a lot of milk, you need to be in a comfortable space.
That's true.
Your mind needs to stimulate all the ducts and glands. So this, when you come here, is supposed to be relaxed.
Okay. All right.
Get the most out of it.
Actually, looks really, and I like the fact that there is a bit of a, curtain here, so that to ensure privacy. If there's one mom over there, and then there's another mom over here, ensure a bit of privacy. I like that. I like that. It's a really, really nice room. There is a fridge, as well. Like you said.
There's a sink. Hygiene is also very key because when you're feeding your child, they can really pick up a lot of diseases and issues. So hygiene is very clean. You come, you clean your utensils, you clean your breast pump, and
okay, all right. And aside from Catherine Juguna, who again, like we said, is the human resource business partner right here at Mabati Rolling Mills, we also have Stena Daniel, who is a breastfeeding champion. It's good to have you this morning.
Thank you for having me. How are you?
Very well, and thank you so much for first of all agreeing to speak with us on this very important conversation, even as we continue to celebrate World Breastfeeding Week. I'm just curious to understand from your perspective, first of all, why is this week very important? Before we just come to your personal story and how you have benefited from a lactation station, among so many other provisions as far as enabling working moms to be productive at work, but not stress about their children, right? But just get to understand how important this week is for you.
Well, Breastfeeding Week. So, as the name says, I don't have to define that. So, this is where we remember, or we are aware as women, the power that we have, especially in bringing up another human being. So, this week is very important to each and every woman that is out there, and in celebrating what we are able to do. And personally, this week reminds me of my young ones. Yes. Okay. And the journey that we came up through with them up to this point.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's start with your baby, right? You have two. So let's start with the two boys. Okay. So for the first one, how was it for you? And especially, during maternity, of course, you have enough time to breastfeed and bond with your baby. But then coming back to work. Do you want to take us through what that was like?
Yeah, with the first one, actually, I was not in the country. So that one was a little bit difficult because then the organization didn't have the facility of a mother's room and all that. But they really tried to have a flexi time for all the breastfeeding or the new moms. But it was really difficult to have, you would not know where to pump the milk from. That is the first baby. We didn't have that. And then also, so it got to a point whereby exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months became very hard. So he had to start food at 4 months because I could not manage to do exclusive breastfeeding. Whatever we had already packed in the fridge at home, depleted, of course, with time. It's a boy, yes, of course. So, so at 4 months, he was. We had to introduce food, yes, as opposed to now the second baby. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll come back to you, talk about the second baby. Catherine, you've given us your personal experience of how hard it was for you after coming back from maternity leave. There was no facility that enabled you to, first of all, express your milk, because it is recommended 6 months before we start introducing solid foods and to complement that with milk. So for you, aside from the fact that a lot of women who are working will be like, yeah, so we do not have that station. What are some of the challenges that you would say working moms experienced before this provision, as far as lactation station is concerned? What are some of the other challenges that working moms who are breastfeeding experience from a human resource manager perspective?
Okay. Some of the challenges that women experience is lack of concentration. Yeah. You cannot divide your attention. At the end of the day, as I said, your family, your children are your priority. So if you're here and you're expected to be performing, and yet at home you're hearing that your child is crying hungry the whole day, you won't be able to give your best, right? There's also, when it comes to your mental health, you're constantly stressed, you're constantly very anxious, you're worried, and yet again, you're expected to perform, right? When we come to work, we are all put on the same pedestal, so that we as women are understood that it's okay for you to work around and not perform your duties because you're a mom, because you have a small child. It's okay for you. And yet for the man, he's continuing with his life. If you have a husband, you'll just see that he will continue with his life, he will continue to be productive, but you are expected to still play the role of a mother, a mom, to still come and excel in your career.
That's true.
So it's very draining.
Okay. So then when we talk about such conversations, because like you rightly put, majority of the times people might separate themselves from this sensitive conversation, right? Because they'll be like, especially for the men, they'll be like, I mean, it does not concern me, so this is your issue. But why is it important to have such conversations in workspaces? Before even we talk about lactation station and, these other facilities that are important and will enable a working mom to be productive, but also have some time alone to just, express their milk. Having such conversations, why is it important? Where should we, at what point should we start introducing such conversations in the workspaces?
Such conversations should have started 10 years ago, a long time ago, right? Because the minute the doors opened and women were allowed to start working, this was inevitable, right? Just because we're working doesn't mean that now we will stop doing our duties at home, we will stop being mothers. So it is important. And at the end of the day, we're all here to work and to achieve one common goal, is for this company to perform. So if the women are pulling it behind because of all these other issues that we're going through, how are we going to excel? How are the men going to get that bonus at the end of the day, So we are all an integral part of this business. So for it to excel and for us to reap the benefits that we want to reap, then we must all be aligned, and we understand that it is how God created us. We are different, but let's deal with it.
Yeah, special. We're special.
Unique. Yes.
And we have to perform that role. Okay, I'll come back to you to then talk about the role of a human resource manager, if we could say that, in workspaces in promoting the same. Because it's one thing to have this provisions in law, but it's also another thing to have that implemented. So the role of a human resource manager in making sure that all those things, the provisions are implemented. But before that, Stina, so that transition, you said for your first baby it was a bit easier. Okay, a little bit. Or challenging, but the fact that you had to introduce food at 4 months, that must be very difficult for you, wasn't it?
It was very difficult. So you can imagine now it's introducing, you're a new mom, you have to learn how to introduce the weaning, and you have to do it before the time. So there's this day that I came back home. The first day I went to work, and then I had left some food for the baby, and I had asked my help, make sure that this food is all the way to the evening. But by the time I get back home around 3 p.m., there was no food. So it's like, what happened? I didn't know the baby ate all. So you can imagine the shock. First of all, the stomach is tiny. And then the digestive system is not yet fully developed.
And stomach is not even ready for the solid foods at 4 months. Yeah.
So the shock. I almost never went to work the following day. So we had to do the massage so that the baby can pass out the food and all that. So those are the few challenges and that mothers go through. But again, the following day you're expected at work and smiling, and you have to perform. Absolutely. Yes.
That must be very difficult for you. First of all, as a mom, trying to balance, be productive at work, but also ensure that your baby does not lack anything just because you are working. But how did this affect your baby at that time? Introducing the solid foods early? Too early, if we can say that. And yes, and even for yourself, just, looking and just seeing how your baby is struggling, suffering. How did that, make you feel as well? But let's just first of all start with your baby.
All right. For my baby, it was hard because now having to introduce that food, regardless of when it's advised to have, you can have some malenges first and all that, but still, there's no that piece. And then again, yes, they're not ready. Number two, we compromised the immunity at one time because again, the development is not yet done for this baby to be ready for food. And then also the baby don't gain actually weight when you introduce this food early. That is from my experience and from my first baby. They don't gain weight because now the body is confused. You're introducing something that is very, very, very new to their system. Yeah. So the system, the way it's supposed to work, so you're starting it to work very early. And so gaining of weight and all that was really an issue also. Yes, you could tell. You could tell the difference. Yeah. Yes.
Between your first baby and your second baby. And Catherine, again, as a human resource, because we look up to you like, hey, help. Because like you said, and you also said the same, Stina, the fact that you are expected to be productive. It doesn't matter whether you did not sleep at night, whether your baby did not, feed well, and you are expected to be productive and to perform. So that leads me to the question that I had asked earlier in terms of the role of a human resource manager, just to make sure that moms have a conducive environment, yes, at work, to be productive, but also not stressing out as far as my baby, how is the baby doing, do they have enough milk, and all those things. What role do specifically for HR, human resource managers?
Yeah, I'll speak about the role of HR in general. Yeah. The HR is like the mother in the organization, right? Yeah. Everybody comes to HR. I have an issue, come to HR. I have a joy, come to HR. I need something, come to HR. Yeah. So our role at work is to ensure that we've created that conducive environment, that you are okay to be productive, that you are happy to be at work, that you are engaged, because at the end of the day, we are all here also. We have been employed to make this company a success, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, we are all humans. When I get to that gate, I am not going to drop my mom title. I'm not going to drop my daughter title, my wife title. I'm not going to drop that. I will come with that to work, and that is going to affect how I work. And how I am able to perform and be productive. Yeah. So as HR is for us to recognize that you cannot separate the person who is outside and the person who is inside.
I really like the fact that you're saying that, because majority of the times we're usually told when you get to that office,
naturally
leave everything else behind. You're here to work. So whatever your issues with your mom, your new mom, you did not sleep, leave them at home. But it's not possible.
It's
You're
not
human at the end of the
possible.
day.
You're human at the end of the day. So if I didn't sleep, my baby was so sick, and then in the morning I've told my boss, hi sir, my baby is feeling sick. I want to take them to hospital and come back. And he or she is like, what do you think, you're the only one with a baby?
Yeah.
I'll come to that work. I will sit there. Will I do work?
No.
Will I perform?
No.
Exactly. So it's for us to recognize and understand that, and also educate the other managers, the other supervisors, the other leaders, that it is not possible that, and people are different. So I may be able to handle stress well, and she may not be able to handle the pressure
Stress very well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's be able to understand who you're dealing with, your team, and also create that environment that if they are happy, they are okay, then you'll be able to get the results that you need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we also want you to understand, so yes, it's important, first of all, for human resource manager to promote these conversations, but at the end of the day, the staff, right, colleagues, how then can they support, just to make sure that these provisions that are in law as far as breastfeeding is concerned also support breastfeeding moms? Because like we said earlier on, it's very easy for men or maybe moms, you know, or ladies who are not, you know, probably breastfeeding at that time, never had babies. It would be very easy to separate yourself, be like, yeah, that's not my issue. So, you know, so how then can they be involved in the support of the same and making sure that this is implemented in the office? But Stella, for you, second baby. Yes. So how was it for you transitioning from your maternity leave and going back to work?
Yes. So you can imagine from my first experience. So the second one, I was like, I'm not sure what to expect. So when I came back to the office, then I was here. And coming back to this room, I was like, there's a mother's room. There is this provision. I'm like, you guys, you're real? There's a couch, there's a fridge, there's a microwave. And then there's privacy. Wow. What else would I be asking for? Yeah. So the moment that I came back and then I found this room and I was introduced to it, I was like, yes, actually, I was the first beneficiary for this room in MRM. Yes. So I hold that very highly because it was a really thought of process. So when I came back and I found this room, it was really relaxing at that time. And also my mind was settled, knowing that now, even if I'm in the office, I have that chance of providing for my baby and still take back the milk at home. I'll still take it when it is fresh. I'll still take it when it is not contaminated, because now I'm in a very clean environment and I'll be able to provide for my baby and at the same time working for the company. So it is a win-win for me, for the company and for my child. Okay. Yes. All so right. That was the difference when I was coming back and the first one. So it was really relaxing. Okay. Yes. All right.
And aside from being relaxing, you said for your first child's 4 months, you had to introduce solids. It was difficult for the baby, difficult for you as well. How much of a difference in terms of like quantifying, first of all, your productivity at work and also the health of your baby? Could you just point out to us so that people really understand?
Yes. Yes. So for MRM here where we work, is we also have those flexi time. So if your baby, for example, did not sleep well at night, you have like an hour of flexi time. So you can come in later, or if you can work early and then go home early. So having that in mind is that I'm able to manage my time well. I know that I can breastfeed, I can pump for my baby, and then take it back home. So the difference was the moment that I'm able to store some food or some milk for my baby, then I can concentrate down on my desk, regardless of the work that is given and all that. And knowing in mind that I have support, especially from the HR, that they will not judge me harshly. Yes, that was a beautiful transition. And the fact that other employees also around me, they know that we'll need to give her like an hour to go to the room and do all she needed to do. So in case there's something that has come up and I'm not on the desk, then I have other colleagues that will come up. I had that question you asked from Kate. Yes. So there's that unity, and there's that where people really take care of you in the office. knowing that you're a lactating mother and all that, you need food and all that. So yes, we find that
the support was really, really immense for you. Okay, and again, Catherine, in terms of, first of all, making sure that all these provisions are, you mentioned flexi hours, which again is important. Lactation station, it's important, to have that. But what are some of these other provisions that are there for lactating moms, and especially when transitioning from maternity leave, coming back to the office?
Okay. In addition to the lactation room, and the first one is a gradual return to work schedule, where we give 1 extra hour a day. So you can choose to either come in 1 hour, to come in 1 hour late, or leave 1 hour early, so that you can have sufficient time with your child until your baby is 6 months. After the 6 months, then we have that flexi time. So sometimes your baby could be a morning person, or or they don't sleep the whole night, and in the morning, they sleep. So we can give you some time that you can come in at 9, at 10, and leave a bit late, just so that you're comfortable and you're flexible, and you're not taking advantage of some of these benefits. COVID came with its perks. So right now we have the provision of working from home. So depending on your role, you have access to remote working, and you can be able to, you can wake up one day and things happen. The help tells you, Madam Leo, ni kama naacha kazi. So will you leave your child and come to work? So you have that provision and flexibility for you to be able to work from home. We also have a contract with one of the counseling centers and psychiatric centers. So we usually know, new moms, you've gone through a lot. Your body has gone through a lot of changes, hormonal, physical changes, stress. Sometimes you've just been married, so you're living with somebody new, and then now you have a new baby. So much stress, you can fall into postpartum depression, right? True. So we have that facility. If you feel like you're struggling, you just come and tell us. We will organize sessions for you. You go for those sessions. They will not send us back the report, tell us, oh, yesterday you were, you were struggling, you were doing this, or you're experiencing this. They will not come back and tell us, but we just want to make sure that your mental state is okay. That's true. So that when you come here, you're giving us your best. And then she mentioned about support. So it's amazing. We have an amazing team here, and we do baby showers. For our expecting mothers. Okay. So we will contribute as employees, whether you're male, you're female, you're a HOD, you're a machine operator. It does not matter. Everybody will contribute, and the company will also contribute some money towards it. We'll have some cakes, some snacks, some shopping for you. And in that package, we also ensure that you have a breastfeeding pump and some packages, so that when you come back, that is what you will come back with. So that you can ensure that there's no excuse to not that you exclusively breastfeed your child for 6 months. I like that. I really, really like that. Okay, and you talked about support, which is very important, but I'm just curious to understand, before then, have you ever encountered any form of stigma? Because it's very weird that in this day and age there's still stigma, when we're talking about breastfeeding and even the support that breastfeeding moms need. So I wonder whether you have experienced any form of stigma, either from colleagues or from outside, just the fact that you needed time to breastfeed your baby, and there was not that provision, or people had other thoughts as far as that is concerned.
No, I've not experienced that. I think no, I haven't. I can't remember I can't remember of any incident. Yes.
Which is a good thing. Goes along to say how important support is. But even as we introduce, making sure that first of all these provisions that are in the law are implemented in workspaces, there's also that aspect of underutilization of such facilities. So I wonder if maybe you have experienced that, and if that is the case, the big question might be why. Is it that there's a case of stigma? Moms feel that they're sort of like stealing working hours from the company just to go and have some time to express their milk, because according the provision is that 1 hour is not 1 hour during lunchtime. it is an
throughout
extra
the day
exactly
as your milk.
Yes, yeah. So then do you find instances where maybe some women do not feel comfortable because they feel that they're stealing working hours, from the company? And how do we make sure that for those companies who are struggling to understand and implement these facilities, what are some of the, steps that they can take just to make sure that, all this is provided for? But all that is coming out after the break, because I know you want to answer that now. But of course, we'll continue with the conversation and is even understanding the contribution of the private sector in making sure that the implementation of these provisions in the law as far as for lactating mothers, breastfeeding mothers are implemented. We'll have that conversation as well after the break. Stay with us. This is Your World.
The Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, NUPEA, is a state corporation under the Ministry of Energy mandated with the development of nuclear power program for electricity generation in Kenya, carrying out research and development of energy technologies and capacity building for the energy sector. To this end, NUPEA coordinates all relevant nuclear infrastructure in the country. For more information, log on to our website and follow us on our social media handles.
Baba yetu uliye mbinguni, jina lako litukuzwe. Ufalme wako ufike. Utakalo lifanyike duniani kama mbinguni. Utupe leo mkate wetu wa kila siku. Utusamehe makosa yetu kama nasi tunavyowasamehe waliotukosea. Usitutie katika majaribu, bali utuokoe na yule muovu. Kwa kuwa ufalme ni wako na nguvu na utukufu milele daima. Amina.
To get Baba Yetu as your Skiza tune, dial star 811 star 925 hash.
Skiza, non-nation.
Irena, please don't do this.
I can't live with you anymore.
Whatever they told you was just a lie.
Tadeo, I'm flattered by that, but I want you to know
Irene,
that...
please. Don't worry about it. I know that you're not going to stay here for a long time, but your presence is an inspiration. And finally, you can see some of the new paintings that I finished. Instead of spying on me and assuming things, you could have just asked. I always looked up to you two because you're supposed to be my role models, right? I'm really disappointed.
Head over heels. Shield your families from germs. When Dettol is a part of every household bucket, then you and your family can stay protected from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Everyday use of Dettol keeps my loved ones protected.
Get ready to have your mind blown.
Leg out.
Nameless Dania Nyumba, and you're checking out Kwetu Mix.
Dania Kwetu Mix, this is Mercy Walker official live on NTV. Keep it up.
We're bringing you the hottest show in town. From exclusive interviews with the biggest names in the game.
Kitu kikubwa ambacho nimejifunza kuhusu maisha ya ndoa, kwanza lazima itoke ndani. It has to come from within.
Oh yeah. To a DJ set that will knock your socks off.
Wacha party endelee. Kwetu Mix NTV. Monday mpaka Friday. Let's go. Come on.
And snippets from your favorite live performances. Don't miss out on the fun. Tune into Kwetu Mix every weekday from 5 to 6 p.m. only on NTV.
Centum Real Estate offers you an opportunity to own a home at the Two Rivers Development, Mzizi Court Residence. Talk to us today on 0703 262626 or text 2 Rivers to 22365.
right, welcome back. The show is Your World, and today we are on location. We're coming to you from Mabati Rolling Mills. It, of course, is one of the companies that was at the forefront in terms of championing and making sure that the implementation of the provisions that are in law as far as lactating or breastfeeding mothers are concerned. And of course, we're here at the lactation station, and it's very roomy and very beautiful and very comfortable. It's like I can sit here the entire day, but listen, there are moms who need this facility more than I do. And of course, Catherine Juguna, who's the human resource business partner here, allowed us to be in this space and just help us really understand how this works and why it is important for companies, organizations, offices to make sure that there is a lactation station as provided for in law, because it is estimated that 823,000 children can be saved, and this is by annually, actually, by scaling up breastfeeding. But aside from the fact that this is provided in law, but we also need to understand the role the private sector played in making sure that it is implemented. And of course, joining us now is Gloria Ndike, who's the Executive Director, KEPSA Foundation. Good to have you this morning. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Okay. You are at the forefront in making sure that the private sector also is, gets involved in making sure that moms, have, I would say, a conducive environment to, first of all, work in offices, but also making sure that they have some time to express their milk, have a station where they feel comfortable and safe, and especially when it comes to hygiene of their milk. You're at the forefront of the theme. So why was it so important to you, Madam Gloria?
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here this morning speaking about exclusive breastfeeding for children in this country. Apparently, the young mothers at the breastfeeding stage the world over have always had a big problem balancing work and bringing up their children. And we realized that anytime the young mothers went back to work after maternity leave, a lot of them either dropped off. There was a lot of absenteeism. They couldn't handle. There's this issue of the body getting back to the right emotional space. There was the infant who's been left at home, and there are all these calls, the baby is not feeling well and herself. Then she's in a space where her body is full of milk. There was so much imbalance. And we realized that something had got to be done. And I remember in year 2010, we brought in 27 companies at the Serena Hotel, and we had sensitized them and requested them to commit to establishing lactation centers at the workplace. And at the forefront were our champions at the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. And I remember Michael Joseph took lead. That was Safaricom. Isuzu Kenya, that time it was General Motors. Mabati Lawrence through Manu Chandaria, Toyota Kenya. We had quite a number of champions who we had requested to support us in this program. Thanks to UNICEF, they walked this journey with us, and that is what happened. After the 27 companies committed to provide lactation spaces for young mothers at their workplace, we started a program, and we started sensitizing our members on the need to do the same. And I remember the first phase of that program, we were able to sensitize over 100 companies on the need for this. And we impressed upon them that research had it that when a young mother feels comfortable at the workplace, because they are able to express milk, they are able to feel that the employer is supporting them in that, they became loyal employees. And as a result, productivity increased from that young mother. And as a result, they were not able to probably step out of work. A lot of companies, and I know a lot of them can attest to this. Young women used to go to the bathrooms to express, or in their cars, or even just around the corridors. And you can imagine when this young mother wants to express the milk because her breasts are full of milk and she's not having any space, there are all these other employees or colleagues who probably don't have any knowledge of what she may have been going through. So a lot of them told us that it was God sent, that there was provision of a room for them to do it.
Absolutely.
Here at Mabati Rollins, we KEPSA, in collaboration with our champion, Dr. Manu Chandaria, opened this space in 2019. And it is one of the places that we are so happy about. We've gotten feedback of the young mothers who say that life is never the same anymore. You know?
Yeah. I mean, for both the mother and the child, really, because like you said, staying with an engorged breast, for the entire day, it's not comfortable for any mom. And the fact that you can do that and make sure that your baby has your breast milk, but still you're able to be productive at work, it makes a totally huge difference when it comes to productivity at work. I'll come back to you to really understand, because we started this conversation on 2nd of August, 1st of August, right? And one of the things that came up is the fact that, yes, we have seen this implemented in some offices, most offices, I would say, sort of like a formal employment. But then again, we also have this other sector, that is the informal employment. So then what happens there? Because we have moms who work in the informal employment, and they would also need a space where they could easily express their milk, make sure that they still remain productive at work, but also ensure that their babies do not lack breast milk. So the big question is then what happens then? Because they also form part of the private sector. I'll come back to you to understand that. But Catherine, for you, before we went to the break, there was a conversation about the utilization of these facilities that are provided for in working environments or in offices. But then again, when it comes to utilization of the same, how do we make sure that they are properly utilized? Because it's one thing to have this implemented, but it's also another to make sure that they are properly utilized.
With human beings, where there is a small gap, there's always a loophole for people to try and manipulate the system, right?
That's true.
But for us, this is open 24/7.
Okay.
And we expect that we have been able to be good to you, we have provided this facility to you, then you will utilize it the right way and for the benefit of you and for your baby. You'll not misuse it.
Okay.
When we see that you're not at your desk, we will not keep on calling you, where are you, where are you? Because we know this is what you're going through.
Yeah.
This room is also open to expectant mothers. We know that it reaches a point that your back is paining, your legs are swollen. So we have a nice recliner seat that if we find you with your legs up, we don't expect you to be sitting down and you're in pain. If you die here, what is going to happen? If you get a complication here, what is going to happen? It's going to be our liability. So when we give you the freedom, we also expect that you will respect what we have provided for you.
Okay.
And we might have received 1 or 2 people trying to take advantage, but those are outliers.
I mean, yeah. And it happens.
And it happens everywhere. But other than that, people respect the fact that we have been able to provide this facility for them.
Yeah. And just not restricting ourselves to this particular facility, because again, like we said, we have seen lactation station in different places, different offices. One of the things that a lot of women have expressed is safety of their expressed milk, because there is a fridge provided, and like you said, most of the time the lactation stations are open for ideally lactating mothers and pregnant mothers, but you might find 1 or 2 or 3 people maybe getting into the room. So one of the things that a lot of women have expressed is, yes, I will express my milk, I'll put it in the fridge, but I'm still a little bit cautious about the safety of that milk, because mtu anaweza kuja and then tamper with the milk kidogo. So just making sure that there's that aspect of safety and also maintaining hygiene as well.
That also came up. That was also a concern to us some time back, and we are trying to feel whether we'll have a biometric system that whoever is going through this period, then we set them up and they're the only ones who can access, and plus the cleaners who come, because every day this room has to be extremely clean throughout. Yeah, so we are trying to see how we can be able to ensure that even if you've done it, we provided that you're also secure, you're also feeling comfortable that I've left my milk and nobody's going to tamper with it. Another thing, this current packaging these days has a place that you can label. You write your name, you write the time, the date you have expressed, and the time. Because you're supposed to give your child the milk that you expressed first, not the current one. So at least with that, there's, if we are two of us going through this period, then I have mine written Catherine, she has hers written Steiner. So we'll pick what is ours. We will not get confused that I'll pick Steiner's and she'll pick mine.
Okay. All right. And I think that would be really good to have that implemented so that we ensure the people who are supposed to be in the lactation stations are the one in there, and we don't just have anyone walking in and out, because again, safety is important and these are young babies. Okay. But again, Madam Gloria, that aspect of the informal, what happens to those moms?
That question is very valid. And I can tell you that I've walked into many markets, especially in this country. And my dream would always be that any market I walk into, there is a space for children. There is a space the mothers can express their milk. There is a space that pregnant mothers can actually even just go and sit and relax. And we started that as in the second phase of our program. And we went to one market called Uhuru Market. We realized there was a space where they were throwing away bottles, everything. There was so much, garbage. And we actually removed all that. We excavated the place, we planted the grass, we planted the flowers, and we wanted to do some benches and also bring in a place or maybe a container that was going to be used for mothers as a space for breastfeeding. And this is a dream that is still in us. It is something that we would like to have all markets functional. Because if you go to those markets, you'll find even the little babies who are not school going, the mothers who are not able to afford house helps go with the mothers to those markets. And you know, those are not daycares. So what happens? The children are all over. They play in very, 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 they play in spaces that are not very safe, blocking grasses and everything. So we would like to see all markets provide for such spaces where the children would be comfortable. And therefore, you know, a lot of these young workers and young women are in the informal sector, and they're in spaces like those. The second thing I would like to see in this country is I walk into the Hilton bus stop and I look like this and I can see a small booth somewhere where a mother who is probably waiting to get into a matatu can get in and express her child. The other strategy that we are trying to use is using the women groups. Ma'am, every woman in this country meets once a month in a chama. So what did we do in our second phase? We wanted to influence the agenda of the chama, where we were feeling the women get into the chama, they pray, they eat, they mobilize savings, they pray again and go home. So we really want the women to have kind of a standard program for the chamas. It's informal, but in one of the sessions in the chama, after praying, eating, mobilizing savings, and maybe hearing a word, why don't they put a section there that speaks to children, that speaks to nutrition for their children, and speaks to, you know, bringing up a healthy family.
It's important.
It is very important.
Okay. I'm just curious to understand what it will take for us to get there, but Diana, are we okay? I can see our time is far much spent, but I would really get to understand it, especially from a human resource perspective. And maybe we do this because we have other champions, outside. So as we get out of the lactation station, and I'd want you to answer this, Catherine. We'll go with you as well, Madam Gloria. Is the fact that now that we have all these provisions, we have all these laws, the biggest question that a lot of people would have is there's that ILO sort of like recommendation for the 18 weeks of paid maternity leave, right? So the question is, how practical will that be? And do you see that happening? What will it take for that to happen before we come back to Madam Gloria?
That's the most viable, because at the end of the day, that's the most ideal situation.
Yes.
There are conversations that are happening even in the company and in the group, and we are hopeful that it will work for the women.
Okay.
Yes, there's conversations that are happening because we know the importance of exclusive breastfeeding. And at the end of the day, who is going to run this company 10 years from now, 20 years from now? It's these babies who we are bringing up.
That's
and if
true.
they have a low immunity and their life expectancy is reduced, then this company will not be any there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we
it's
understand.
ideal.
Yeah,
It
it's
should
ideal.
happen.
It should happen.
Okay, but Gloria, what will it take for that to happen? Very quickly before we say hello to champions over here, in terms of making sure that this recommendation is sort of implemented, and also especially when it comes to the private sector and the informal sector as well.
Thank you very much. I think sensitization and education is very important, and also for the companies to understand that there's benefit to this. If you allow a woman or a young mother to have her space with her child and infant, then it means that you are getting a more trusted employee. It is proven that they will be more loyal. It's proven that productivity increases, absenteeism decrease, and therefore you have a better worker. So the relationship between the employee and the employer becomes better. Workplace policies are very important, and KEPSA came up with this, a workplace policy for, for breastfeeding at the workplace. So it is going to be something that will help. It's not about compliance, it's about understanding, like she has said, that when a child breastfeeds for 6 months exclusively, it helps in the initial stages of human growth and development, and therefore makes her or his immunity better and a better child. Absolutely. Yes, so policy is everything. Yes. Social structures should also be part of the game, because employees need to encourage each other, they need to understand. Time, we need to give the young mothers time, and of course the space and policy. Thank you.
And I like the fact that you're really emphasizing on its policies are important. It's important to implement them, but also understanding. It's very important. Social structure is very important. I like that. Thank you so much, ladies. Let me speak to the champions here for like 2 seconds as we end the conversation. It's so good to have you. You look lovely. Thank you so much for again, just allowing us to say hi and all those things. Do you want to say your name and your transition from maternity?
My name is Sheila Juma from HR, and I have a 3-year-old son. So I've benefited from this room, from the program the company has put in place. So the transition for me was quite easy. I had enough time to pump the milk for my baby. I had the flexi hours coming 1 hour earlier or 1 hour later. And of course, that flexibility to just have some time with my family, with my son, and my child breastfed for 6 months exclusively. So I'm a proud mother, a healthy boy.
I really like that. How much of a difference would you say this has helped you in terms of your productivity at work and also for the health of your baby? Very quickly.
Well, when you are comfortable, that you're able to work comfortably, I'm able to give my baby that milk. It's important. So for me, the focus and productivity level was okay. I've been very productive from the time I came back from my maternity. I was able to catch up with work thanks to the supporting company, of course, with the HR, my boss, and every facility in place. So I can say confidently it has been really helpful. Yeah.
I really like that. All right. Okay. Do you want to tell us your name? Because we're celebrating mothers, breastfeeding mothers, those who came back to work and all those things. Do you want to tell us your name?
Yeah. My name is Edith Onguti. I work in the production side in MRM.
Yes.
So again, your transition, your journey from maternity leave coming back to work, and how, again, the fact that you have a lactation station here, how that helped to, in terms of your productivity at work and also for the health of your baby.
Yeah, it was actually very nice. I felt cared for and valued as a mother, and I was able to do the exclusive breastfeeding. The gradual transition from maternity to work was actually very nice because I would leave work 1 hour earlier and be there for the baby. So I didn't buy formula. I'm a happy person. It was very supportive.
Okay, so what is it that you would say, both of you, the fact that you have experienced this side as far as provisions for lactation station, flexi hours, how, and you've seen that in terms of your productivity as well at work. What is it that you'd want to tell people who are watching us today, organizations, companies, the informal sector as well, as far as implementing these provisions that are in the law? What would you say?
I would encourage the people who are able to enforce those policies to do it, because it is a win-win. The mother is happy, and a happy mother equals to a happy baby. So that employee will be very productive at work. It is a good thing to do. Okay. Yes, and the environment, for instance, you've been to the mother's room, you can see it is very quiet. You see, you get to just relax and, of course, pump and have enough breast milk for your baby. Yes, yeah.
And both of you said you were able to exclusively breastfeed for 6 months. It's recommended that just after the 6 months, because majority of the people think it stops there, the exclusive breastfeeding. But after the 6 months, there's also that recommendation rather, and that is to complement. Yes, continue to give your baby breast milk, but also, complement up until around 2 years. So were you able to do this comfortably? This helped you?
Yes, after 6 months, I was able to transition and started giving him solid food, of course, step by step, and eventually food. Of course, I used to supplement with formula at some point, because initially when I had the baby, I was not able to breastfeed immediately. Yeah, so immediately after 6 months, I was able to transition to the formula. Okay. Yes. All
right. And you said you saw the difference in terms of your baby. A lot of people, and especially for moms, struggle with the colic, gas, and all those things. Did you experience this exclusively breastfeeding before, again, having to complement with formula?
Yes, I did. And fortunately, I had a very strong support system from work. I had colleagues who had gone through, they've had children before, for example, Catherine. So I was able to be guided and taken through what to do and what not to do to manage the colic. Colic is there, so whether you like it or not, it's just how you manage it, and I was able to get through to it. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate your time this morning. All the very best. Continue being productive. Even as you, again, take care of your babies as well. 2 boys, like you said. 1. Okay. Oh, no, it's... One boy.
One boy.
Two boys. Okay, so all the very best. And Catherine as well, thank you so much for allowing us to come into your space this morning. Insightful conversation, learning a lot. But one of the things that I would say is a takeaway message is the fact that we need to, first of all, come from a point of understanding. And making sure that these policies are implemented in different offices. And like I asked, what will it take for the 18 weeks of paid maternity leave to be implemented? And you said it has to, one way or the other, looking at the productivity, of the same. But other than that, upscaling, all these provisions, what will it take from a human resource perspective?
From a human resource perspective, this journey of motherhood is not a new thing. Everybody has gone through it. You were born, and you will also, whether you're a father or you're a mother, you will also be a parent. And you know the importance. And if you know something is good for your child, then definitely it's good for somebody else's child. So eventually, I know employers are looking at the cost of paying on somebody for 6 months, they're at home, 4 months, they're at home. Before they're able to get the child, maybe 2 weeks they're on sick leave as they're expecting the child. But at the end of the day, you will have that loyal employee. Because when I feel that you care about me as a person, why will I not care about you and your resources and your company?
True. And
so
that makes
eventually,
a
as these conversations are going on and people are seeing the benefit, then
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This is a win-win.
It's a win-win
situation for both the employer and for the employee.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for allowing us this morning. I know, you have to go back to work and people have to work and mothers maybe need to use that room.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to say goodbye.
Okay. Thanks
See
you also
myself
for
out.
coming. This is the way out.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And thank you so much for staying with us until the end of the show. Now I know that you have a better understanding of, first of all, what a lactation station, number one, looks like, but number two, how important it is for organizations, companies to have such facilities and such provisions as well for their working moms so that they're able to be productive at work, but also making sure that their health of their baby is not compromised. Because again, like we said, statistics say 829,000 lives, and that is children, could be saved annually. And this is by upscaling exclusive breastfeeding. So promote that, support that, and let's keep the lives of our babies. Until next time, my name is Winnie Lubembe. Enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Goodbye for now.